When Emily turned away that night, her words felt colder than the December air that seeped through our half-open window. "Don't touch me right now," she said, barely looking at me. No anger, no tears, just distance. I stood there for a moment, hand frozen midair, trying to make sense of how we got here. It wasn't always like this. 3 years ago, Emily and I were the couple everyone envied. Late-night drives, inside jokes, lazy Sundays tangled in sheets and sunlight. She used to hold my hand even in the grocery store line. But somewhere along the way, her warmth started fading. The smiles became polite. The kisses became routine. At first, I blamed work stress. She'd come home exhausted, talking about her new manager, her tight deadlines, her colleagues. I wanted to believe it. But when excuses pile up like that, you stop hearing the words and start hearing what's missing. That night, her phone buzzed twice on the nightstand. She didn't move, just stared at the wall. I glanced at the screen, no name, just a single heart emoji as a notification preview. I didn't ask. Not yet. I only said, "You've been distant lately." Her reply was quick, practiced. "You're imagining things." But my gut said otherwise. Over the next week, silence filled our house. Conversations were replaced with nods and sighs. Meals together turned into her scrolling through her phone while I stared at the TV, pretending not to notice. Every vibration of her phone made my chest tighten. Then came Friday night, the breaking point. I cooked dinner, her favorite pasta, poured her a glass of white wine. She walked in late, perfume different, smile forced. She saw the candles, the effort, and just sighed. "Ryan, I told you I'm not in the mood for this." Something inside me cracked. Not in the mood to talk, to eat, to even try. Just not tonight. She rubbed her temple like I was a problem to solve. I reached out gently, just to place a hand on her shoulder, to remind her that I was still here. That's when she said it. "Don't touch me right now." It wasn't the words, it was the tone. Cold, dismissive, final. I stepped back, nodded once, and walked away. She didn't stop me, didn't call my name, didn't even turn around. That silence told me everything. I packed a small bag the next morning. Just essentials. No note, no drama. If she wanted space, I'd give her space measured in miles. I left my house keys on the counter and drove until the city lights disappeared behind me. For a week, I stayed at a friend's cabin by the lake. No signal, no noise, just the echo of my own thoughts. The first few nights, I couldn't sleep. Every sound felt like her voice replaying in my mind. But gradually, something shifted. The ache turned to clarity. I realized I'd spent months begging for attention from someone who'd already left emotionally. And if someone can say, "Don't touch me like that," maybe it's not space they need, it's absence. When I returned to the city, I didn't go home. I went to the bank, closed our joint account, moved my things into a new apartment. No message, no confrontation. Just silence, the same kind she gave me. 2 days later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I didn't answer. 10 minutes later, a text came through. "Ryan, please pick up. We need to talk." I stared at it for a long moment, then placed the phone face down. Some words lose meaning after too much neglect. She sent another message that night. "I made a mistake. Can we meet?" But by then, I'd already learned, when someone withdraws love like a punishment, they teach you how to live without it. 2 weeks passed before I saw her again. Not because I planned it, but because she showed up at my new place, standing outside the building like a ghost who'd forgotten where she belonged. Her hair was messy, her face pale. When I opened the door, she just stared for a few seconds before whispering, "You actually left." I leaned against the frame, calm in a way that surprised me. "You told me not to touch you," I said quietly. "So I didn't." Her eyes filled instantly. "Ryan, it wasn't supposed to mean this. I just needed a moment." "A moment?" I smiled, not cruelly, just tired. "You had months of moments, Emily." She stepped closer, like she could still close the distance if she just tried hard enough. But that invisible wall between us was thicker now. "Can I come in?" she asked. I hesitated, then nodded. She walked in, eyes scanning the apartment. Smaller, simpler, but peaceful. There were no framed wedding photos here, no scent of her perfume clinging to the curtains. Just quiet. "I've been calling," she said finally, sitting on the edge of the couch. "You changed your number." "I did." "Why?" "Because every time it buzzed, I thought it might be you," I said. "And I didn't want to feel that anymore." Her lips trembled. "I deserve that." For a while, silence filled the room again. It wasn't the same silence that once suffocated us. This one felt heavier for her, lighter for me. Then she said it, the truth that had been hiding behind all those late nights and distant glances. "It was someone from work," she admitted. "It didn't mean anything. I thought it would make me feel alive again. But it didn't. It just made me hate myself. I didn't move, didn't even flinch. Maybe months ago that confession would have shattered me. Now it just confirmed what I'd already accepted." "Why tell me now?" I asked. "Because you were supposed to fight for me," she said, voice breaking. "You always did." I looked at her then, really looked. The same woman who once held my hand through storms, who now sat in front of me, wrecked by her own choices. "That's the problem, Emily. I spent years fighting for someone who stopped fighting back." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "Please, Ryan, I'll fix this. I'll do anything." I wanted to believe her. God knows I did. But some things break in silence, long before anyone notices. "I hope you do fix it," I said softly. "Just not with me." She shook her head slowly, as if trying to process a language she no longer understood. "You don't mean that." But I did. Every word of it. When she finally left, I didn't watch her go. I closed the door and sat down, listening to the quiet again, the kind that doesn't hurt anymore. A month later, I heard through mutual friends that she'd quit her job. The other guy had moved on. Her social media disappeared. And one night, she texted me from a new number. "You were the only one who ever made me feel safe." I destroyed that. I didn't reply, because love isn't about returning to what broke you. It's about learning why you stayed so long after it was gone. Now, sometimes, I still think about that moment. Her voice sharp, her eyes cold. "Don't touch me right now." I used to replay it in my head, wondering if I'd misread it, if I should have tried harder. But now I see it differently. That sentence wasn't a rejection. It was a revelation. It showed me exactly where I stood. And once you see someone's truth that clearly, you can't unsee it. Emily thought space would make her feel free. But freedom doesn't come from pushing love away. It comes from treating it right. She learned that too late. And me? I'm fine. Not perfect, not healed, just fine. Sometimes that's all you need, not revenge, not closure, just peace. Because when someone says, "Don't touch me," you can take it as distance or as direction. I chose the latter, and that choice saved me.